Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our I've Decided podcast. I'm Kim Martin, founder of I've Decided and host of your show today. And our question of the week is, what are your attributes? Really, think about that. What are your attributes? What are you bringing to the table every day? How are you showing up? What is it that sets you apart? We're going to have a great conversation today. We're going to talk about the 10 attributes of achievement. And I am here with my friend Nikki Romain. Hi, Nikki.
Hello. Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm really good.
Yeah. Well, you guys might recognize this face if you're local anyway in Peoria, if you're watching the podcast. But so you and your husband are somewhat famous in Peoria, Illinois, I think. I feel like I'm sitting with someone famous.
Whatever,
here.
just as famous as you are, because you are out here in these streets doing wonderful stuff.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Yeah.
But I ditto. I think you and Jonathan. Did I mention Nikki Romain? Just FYI, I'm not sure. So Jonathan and Nikki Romain, your husband Jonathan, you guys founded this amazing organization, Art Inc.
Yes.
And so I can't believe all the stuff that you guys have going on in there.
Sometimes I can't either.
So you bought this school.
Yeah.
Give us the lowdown quick.
Sure,
Give us
a little history.
How did it happen?
So for Art Inc. is actually short for Artists ReEnvisioning Tomorrow. And we're a nonprofit. We bought the old Greeley School building in 2018. And then we opened our doors 1 year later as the Romain Arts and Culture Center. And our mission is to inspire and empower the community through arts, education, and culture. And we do that through our programming. So we offer after-school program. We have an after-school arts and leadership academy. So the kids come in, they get help with their homework, and then they're able to do arts education. But we also have a component with youth leadership teachers.
Right.
Those are high school students that are mentored and trained, and they get leadership skills, and they help the kids with their homework. They actually mentor them and they help teach the classes too. And it's paid.
Oh my gosh. That is awesome.
Yeah.
And you're just doing, I see that you guys are doing videography classes.
So we have a film class that's in partnership with Big Picture Peoria. We have a program called Empower Our Girls. So the SOLA program, After School Arts and Leadership, that runs parallel with the school year.
Okay.
So that's for 1st through 8th graders. But then we'll have these 6-week, 8-week workshops for teens. Because with the teens, they're not going to come every day.
Right.
And you have to get those programs that are going to excite them. So we have the film class. We have Empower Our Girls, which is amazing and going on right now. We're actually going to be in Chicago on the 16th with those girls, taking them to the Museum of Science and Industry.
That's awesome.
They're going to get to hear Kim Fox speak. It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
And I just saw on social media a big Barbie. You guys had a Barbie conference. I'm like,
Yes.
what the heck? Where was this when I was a kid?
So we partnered with a lady that was doing this annually, Felicia Durr, and she partnered with us, and we were like, we take things to the next level.
Right.
we just
Well, your husband is the artist.
Yes,
let me
exactly.
Say.
So he built a life-size Barbie house, and he built the Barbie photo booths. So when I say we, I mean he takes things to the next level. You give him something, and he will build it and make it just amazing.
Talk about attributes.
Exactly. Talk about attributes.
Yes. And so, oh my gosh. Well, when we think about the definition, Nikki, of attributes, it is a quality or feature regarded as a characteristic or inherent part of someone or something. So it's that, it's your characteristic. And one of the things that I shared with our members of I've Decided in their weekly winning resource about this is that we have attributes that we're born with, our God-given talents, right? So I bet you guys can see some of Nikki's attributes and, just hearing her personality and the energy in your voice and things like that. But we all have some God-given attributes, and then some attributes are kind of placed on us based on our environment and the people we're surrounded by, who are our parents, just our lives and our experiences. And so it's really just that awareness of what are my attributes? What am I bringing to the table? What's the good? What's the bad? What are, focusing on those positive attributes and doing the best you can with the things that you're not so good at, but not letting it hold, right? But recognizing
Yeah.
it. It's
Recognizing it. And then I would suggest, especially if you're in a position of hiring and bringing in new people, but bringing on people with the attributes that you don't have.
oh yes.
Because you want to get those things in place. You want a
Mhm.
successful business. Okay, well, finance maybe isn't my best attribute, right? So let me bring in a finance person, a bookkeeper, an accounting firm, or
Right.
things like that. And I think when I think of attributes in the definition that you presented, well, the Webster's definition, I think about passion and purpose.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So when we started Art Inc., there's a couple of things. Well, one, my husband and I were both saved by the arts, our own separate stories.
Okay.
And then right before we started Art Inc., maybe a year or two before that, Peoria was ranked #1 for the worst place for Blacks to live.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
That's right. I've heard that statistic. It's hard for me to believe, but I mean, living here, I don't feel that, but I hear it.
Yeah.
And I don't think they put out that statistic if it weren't true.
Yeah.
But
and so we thought about that as Black people living here and not being, we're okay, right? We're doing okay. What could we do to pour into our community that's suffering, right? Well, my attribute is arts. His attribute is arts. So we stay in our lane, right?
Right.
That is our strength. And so my background is singing, dancing, acting. His is visual arts. And then so many more things with building, photo booths and houses, carpentry, woodwork, you name it. But that's what we focus on. And that's what we pour into the community because that's what was poured into us.
Right.
And we want to be able to just have that lane and be the arts component. If you want to do something with I've Decided and you want to do a painting class, come to us.
That's right.
We are the arts component. We want to stay in our lane and really be strong in our attributes and deliver that to the community.
And you have space for people to utilize, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we might as well mention it now because this is so cool before we get too far into more attribute stuff. But that's what she said, Peoria.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait. I got
can't
myself
wait
tickets. It's happening Saturday night.
It is.
Saturday evening. What is the time?
So it's the doors open at 6:30.
Yes.
And then the show starts at 7.
Yes.
And it'll be at the Romain Arts and Culture Center.
And
so
in
people
the
can
big space that you can have events at this place. I mean, it's a beautiful event center.
Yeah. And so so attributes, right? And you think about strengths. What I also, and again, it makes me think about passion. My passion is women and youth empowerment. And when Jeanette, who is the national director of That's What She Said, came to me, actually, she came to me 3 days before COVID hit this 3 days. And I'm like, yes, sign me up. We were going to do it that year. And obviously, So
we're working puzzles at home being shut down. Like, okay.
So this is 2 years in the making now. And I'm just thrilled because I love creating safe spaces for women and with Empower Our Girls, our young teens. And so this platform is amazing. It's inaugural. So this will be an annual celebration of women. We'll have different speakers each year. And I just want to highlight and put a spotlight on women in our community, telling stories that people know Kim, people know Nikki, but maybe they don't know the story that we're going to tell.
Right. They see the success or they see where you are now, but the story of how you got there. Right. And you've got people on here like Katie Kim. Yeah. I mean, she's a well-known person in our community. Development in our community. Our mayor. Yeah,
our mayor. Christy Hubbard, pastor's wife, First Lady. Katie McCord Jenkins. She's the president of Illinois Mutual. Arnitria Shaw.
Oh, yes.
She's over ICC. So it's funny because, Rita was where Arnitria is now. That was her position.
Isn't that funny?
And then, of course, Monica Hendrickson. I think we all saw her every day during COVID, right? And then Donna Crowder. Donna is an amazing powerhouse. I don't want to tell her story, but she has an amazing story. And she's using her attributes to pour into the community as well. And I think all of these stories, all of these amazing women are just...
Yeah. So you guys get your tickets.
Definitely get your tickets.
It was so easy. I think I just went to your website.
Exactly. artingpeoria.org.
Arting Peoria. I bought 2 tickets. I don't know who's going with me yet. I got my girlfriend that was going with me hurt her foot. So I don't think she had to have surgery, broke her. I know. So now I got to find the new. So if you want to go with me, let me know. I have an extra ticket. It's going to be so
and
fun.
men can come too. So if you want to bring hubby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Good to
I
know.
always say that because we first announced it was like, get your girlfriends. And I had a couple of men like, can I come? And I'm like, yes, all humans are invited. All humans are invited.
I love it. I love it. So, well, one of the things that we love to do for our community is in our weekly winning resource, we put out a weekly winning article and, just help them. I mean, it's all geared around our weekly winning word, right? So everything is about winning. It's about success. That's what we do at I've Decided. Our mission is your success. We want to help people achieve their goals, whatever that might be. Okay. It could be anything. And so we do one way we support them and provide them information and education is through our weekly winning resource.
Awesome.
And so the 10 attributes of achievement. And obviously some people, have this and do this very well and have access to this, and not everybody does.
Right.
And so I think it's just important that we help people understand if you're not seeing the results that you want to see, right? If you have a dream to open a not-for-profit and you've been trying and you keep hitting a brick wall, it's not because you can't.
Right.
It's not because you're not capable, or it's not because your dream isn't important, or it just might not be for you. That's just not true. It simply means that you're probably just missing a piece of the puzzle for success.
Some tools and some resources that you might not have.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're missing one of the attributes potentially, and you just got to make sure you surround yourself with that, and starting with the first one, motivation. You got to be motivated. And this is not that, that driven, like you're a driven person, right? You're self-motivated. Your husband might be a little competitive. He's got to build a big dollhouse.
Exactly. The
biggest Barbie dollhouse ever.
Right.
Little competitive nature. And that's great. Those are good qualities. But what we mean by motivation is that revelation. It's that moment where your husband spoke at our conference.
Yes,
and
he did.
Oh my goodness. So to date, he's been one of my favorite speakers.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite speaker. I mean, he's amazing.
He really did an outstanding job, and I was highly motivated by him because it's hearing someone share something that you already know. It's like you've heard it before. You're like, okay, he's sharing a message that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
But the way he puts it into his story, or the way someone that you are listening to puts it into their story and delivers it, now all of a sudden you have a revelation. It's like, now I know how it connects to me. Now it makes sense to me. And I have that aha moment that says, I got to do something different.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. So really it's that revelational moment where it's like, okay, let me out because I got to do something.
I'm ready.
I got to do something, right?
Yeah.
And we don't get that on our own. That has to come through a source.
Yeah. So it reminds me of, so we have a program called Empower Our Girls. I mentioned it, and it's for junior high and high school girls. And it's about wellness. And as a woman, I feel like we often pour into other people.
Right.
And if I learn at a young age the tools to pour into myself and to fill my cup, I think I'd even be further along.
Oh, absolutely.
So that was the impetus behind, COVID actually brought that shift. We did a virtual Empower Our Girls, and I said, I think we need to focus on wellness.
Yeah.
And so now that we've done that pivot and doing it a different way, I have speakers come in each week.
Oh.
Speakers in our community come in each week and pour into these women. They talk about their journey to success, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then they talk about what they do for self-care. And that makes me think about motivation, because I'm wanting to motivate these young girls.
Right. They need that revelation, that aha moment where they go, yes.
And a lot of times I'll meet young girls and just people in general who have only seen one particular profession, or maybe two.
Right.
But by bringing in these different women and exposing them, getting them motivated to see other things and to hear other stories and to think outside of the box.
Yeah. Inspiration.
Which
is the second. Which is exactly, you led into that perfectly, Nikki, because there's nothing more inspiring than a success story.
Yes.
and you know, that's how we grow. I've
Yeah.
decided grows through success stories.
Mhm.
It's the success stories of the people who are doing what they want, what they've decided to do.
Yeah.
And then someone else who wants to accomplish something similar can say, well, if they can do it,
yeah,
if, you know,
exactly.
I can do it.
Exactly. Especially when you tell the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Oh yeah,
right?
when you recognize
Because maybe I failed high school or whatever it is, but I got back up. And that's another thing with motivation. Sometimes you're just not in the mood. Sometimes you don't want to get out the bed,
right.
but you got to find something in there to get you up out of that bed, to go work out, whatever it is that you need to be motivated to do.
I love how you're leading right into it's like she could have wrote this article. That's amazing. So support is 3 and accountability is 4. And we can kind of talk about those
all
together.
Of those together.
That's where the support and accountability comes from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a running group. I run.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a running group. But I tell you, if I did, there's 5 of us. There's always one of us that's like, you know, and
Today,
then
really?
and the rest of us are get your butt out of bed. You're going.
And it switches. Right?
It's
not the same person every time.
Not always. Not always. You know, usually it's one of us as like, I'm not feeling it today. And they're like, stop your whining.
Yep. Get up.
Get up. Let's go.
Or we'll come walk to your door.
Oh, yeah. I mean, don't even try to say, I think I'm going to sleep in. I'll see you guys. They're like, oh, no, you're not. Get your butt up. We have one in particular. She doesn't let you get away with it. I'm like, it's sleeting outside.
Oh, gosh.
Put your jacket on.
Yeah. So that reminds me. So I had gained a lot of weight. It's still there. And
you look fantastic.
Thank you.
So come on.
But I needed something else because I just wasn't motivated. I didn't feel like, and I knew that I needed something other than what I had right within me, like you spoke about. And so I reached out to one of my girlfriends and she's like, you know what, we're going to be workout buddies. And we got a personal trainer because we need a little bit more, right? We do. We need someone in our butts.
Yeah.
And we know what we need. So we went to go get it. Right. And we motivate each other. And it's in the morning. We get up
and
at
your
5 a.m.
Yep. I hear you.
Okay. That's crazy, but it's the only time that we have available. And we get it done and we feel so much better afterwards. But we had to take that step. We're both very busy. Lots of people are very busy, and you just got to sketch that time out. You got to schedule yourself.
She's your
and your priorities.
Buddy.
Yeah, you got to schedule yourself just like you schedule everything else in your calendar.
Yeah.
If you don't make yourself a priority,
it's
not going to get done. And you need those accountability partners to help make that happen sometimes.
And the support of experts, you know, which the tools and the resources, right? So I always like to use a water bottle as an example. As a tool. It's just an easy example. So, because most people are dehydrated, first of all, okay, most people do not drink enough water.
Oh, absolutely.
And we have an issue. Look at good job. We have an issue in our society of dehydration, and it makes you sick. It really has a lot to do with your health, how you feel. Anyway, I preach it all the time. So I say to someone, if you struggle drinking water, you can go out and you can invest $20 or $30 in the most beautiful water bottle.
And the water bottle motivates you.
Yes, it's cute. And your favorite color or your favorite quote or whatever. It'll be the best investment you can make because now you have a tool. Yes. Now you have something that says, drink me out of my beautiful teal water bottle.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And I've invested that money into this beautiful water bottle. So it would be a shame for it to just sit there.
Yeah.
So that's what we mean by a tool.
Yeah.
You know, you need tools, you need resources. That's why we send out a weekly winning resource every week. And some of our members, and we use this is the success workbook and journal. Yeah. And it's and they literally use their weekly winning resource and they fill it. It's kind of a fill in the blank. Yeah. They write down their word, their quote. There's a challenge that they have, and then they have their decision tracker for the week. And a lot of them go, I don't have time to do that. Don't you guys? Yes. They say that's busy work. But you know, it's not busy work. It's the most important thing you can do because it lays the foundation for your week. It puts your mind on something positive. It gives you that time to think of, and it's a silly, you know, it's a word. It's like, you know, it's like, what are my attributes? You don't think, how often? When's the last
rarely.
time you
Yeah.
said, what are my attributes? Honey, what are my attributes?
Right.
What are we bringing to the table? We don't do that on our own.
Yeah.
But it is so important
Mm-hmm.
that we have those resources that remind us of
I
what
agree
we
with that.
need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's like stopping and smelling the roses, taking
Yes.
that time to build that foundation, to
Mhm.
recognizing yourself.
Mhm.
Give yourself a pat on the back, right?
Yes,
What are you bringing to the table? Enlisting that. That's huge.
it's super huge.
Because a lot of times we get caught up in a rut, or we get caught up in our day to day, and we forget all the great things that we're bringing to the table, all the great things that we've done.
Or we start focusing on our not so good attributes, or we allow other people to focus on
Exactly.
that and bring us down.
Yeah.
I think about my oldest daughter. She's she'll be 20 this summer,
Oh,
and she's
wow.
like a somewhat of a mini me in a lot of ways. I have two daughters, and they both have, a little bit of I can see myself
Yeah.
in a lot of them, but my oldest especially,
Yeah.
is somewhat of a mini me. And when she was little, I would be like, oh, you're stubborn, just like your mom, and I didn't mean it like, I wasn't trying to be negative.
Yeah.
Or, and one day, she was just being not great.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, whoa, why are you doing this? And she looks right at me and she goes, I'm stubborn, Mom, just like you. And it was such a life lesson. I said,
did you just walk away?
I said, we are not stubborn. I will never. I mean, some of my best life lessons have come from that child. I mean,
wow.
like you
that
see
mirror.
Yes, that
mirror.
mirror reflection.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, how we put attributes on people.
Yes.
And so I started to create her to think she was stubborn. And you can see how that could build into her life had, by the grace of God, that moment not happened. And I really quickly, because I have that behavior change knowledge and the psychology, and I was like,
uh-oh,
we're not stubborn.
Yeah.
We are patient.
Right.
We are gentle, and kind, and patient.
Yeah.
And so redirect.
Speaking those words of affirmation.
Yes.
Because if you dwell on those words, they can become your reality.
And that can become the attribute that you bring, stubbornness.
Yeah.
Not that can't be an attribute in some ways, but not, when you think of stubbornness, you think of a mule that won't move when it needs to.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
Yeah. It can, to be strong-willed, to have that perseverance. That's important. That's important. And it's important. But stubborn
and not being open-minded and being able to give and shift, especially now with all the pivoting.
Oh, geez.
If you're not ready to move like that mule,
just sitting there, like, just gonna sit right here.
Yeah, that's not gonna get you very far. No.
And something that could change that is number 7 and 8, which is information and education.
Ooh, yes.
You gotta have information. You need different information, which I just love what you're doing, because you're opening the eyes of these children to see something different.
Absolutely.
And, I have a backstory. A little bit of my backstory is I lived with a cousin when I was young, when I was from about 13 to 15 years old. My parents were having some issues, and I lived with my cousin for a couple of years.
Yeah.
It completely changed the direction of my life because my eyes were opened to see beyond where I was at. Because before, I lived in this house. My school was like not too far down the street, and that was my area.
Your bubble.
And what we experienced in that bubble was what I knew. And and then I moved in with my cousin, who had a way much different life than I did. And I was like, yeah, I like this life. This is a lot better. They had a calm, it's like, you mean you guys actually get along and eat dinner?
This exists in the world.
Yeah. You have a nice home. You go to work and have a normal life. Not that they were perfect by no means, but it was a normal family, the most normal family that I had ever seen.
Right.
It changed things. So, opening, especially when kids are young.
Yeah. And when they get that access to the information.
Yes.
your mind just explodes and
Mhm.
opens up, because you, like you said, this exists.
Yeah.
Who knew this even existed,
Right.
first of all? Then you get to grow in it
Mhm.
and learn more and more and more,
Mhm.
and you just grow from there.
Yeah.
So we need that information, that education in whatever area that you're going into. And like you talked about, starting a nonprofit. Yeah, that's not something I had ever done
Right.
before. And well, that's actually not true, but I had started a nonprofit, and that's interesting. So I'd co-founded a nonprofit with a girlfriend of mine, and it just wasn't the right timing.
Right.
So you talk about, like, when you said sometimes things don't happen or whatever, and I am a type of person where I will beat myself up, like that was a failure,
Right. You
and
feel
it's like, but when I shifted my thought, and I'm like, well, it wasn't necessarily a failure. I learned a lot. And I don't think that was the best timing
right.
for me.
It's never.
And it will happen again. I didn't say when, whatever, but I knew that my purpose was going to be doing some type of nonprofit or giving back in some way, however that was going to be.
Whatever that looked like.
And so now, look, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I would have shut down to the idea altogether, this wouldn't have happened.
Well, also, I think it's like little breadcrumbs. So it's like sometimes we find ourselves in a situation because God is just softening our heart to the idea.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, okay, you go down this path and you don't end up on, you wiggle back over here, but this softened your heart to the idea, so that when Jonathan came home and said, "We're gonna buy that school building,"
exactly,
you didn't say, "You have lost your ever-loving mind."
Why did you know? that would have been a normal reaction. Absolutely,
of course, because you're like, how are we going to pay the electric bill for a middle school or whatever the situation
and then,
was?
When you start a nonprofit, no one's giving you money just because you started a nonprofit, right? You're not getting grants. You got to build that stuff up. And so getting the information and the education, teaching myself, going online, taking courses, things like that, it helped me to write grants.
Yep.
I mean, I brought on some grant writers, but the best grants that we've gotten were because I wrote them.
Right.
But I didn't know how to write grants. I taught myself.
It's amazing what you can learn on Google and YouTube.
Yes.
My daughter, my youngest daughter, she's like a YouTube fanatic. It's amazing what you can learn. My husband too, he's worked on cars. He come in, watch a YouTube video, go back out to the garage.
My husband is like that. I'm more of a book reader.
I'm more of a hands-on. I need to learn visually.
Me too.
I gotta touch it
books,
and feel it.
I'm going to the classes. My husband will look at a YouTube video and do the plumbing.
Yep. I know, it's crazy.
I'll work beside you.
Attributes.
Right?
Attributes.
Yeah.
It's just that, again, it comes back to, we all bring something to the table, being aware that we're making sure we're showing up with our finest silverware, so to speak, right? We want to show up with our finest silverware every day. And when we focus on our positive attributes, we're aware of the things that we're not good at.
Absolutely.
We don't ignore them. We don't pretend like they don't exist.
Nope.
We recognize those weaknesses, right? But we say, but this is what I'm good at, and this is what I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to go all in on this.
Yes, but even still, so by recognizing your weaknesses or where your attributes aren't shining the most, you can strengthen yourselves with education and information.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So what I've discovered, at first with our nonprofit, it's just Jonathan and I. Well, we're hiring staff now. Right. And we're managing and and human resources, not an attribute of mine, I discovered. Just the whole in and outs of it. But I brought in a consultant.
Right.
And I'm taking classes and I'm learning. Right.
And you can learn enough to help yourself.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean you're going to be an HR lady.
Exactly. That means I still have my consultant on speed dial.
But you can learn enough to get yourself through. And I've had to do that too, right? In a lot of areas. And you'll have to do that too as you venture out into your goals and dreams and your purpose in life. And okay, so we'll talk about the last two, the right mindset. Oh boy.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how many times I say to someone, wanting is not enough. I want it so bad. I want to get out of debt. I want to lose weight. I want to open my own business. I want to write a book. I want to finish school. I want. And I say, that is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a millionaire.
Right.
I mean, what's the saying? Everybody wants to be
Be a
rich
mil-
and skinny.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily skinny, but you know what
Yeah.
I mean. Rich is good.
Exactly.
No, but I mean, we all
Yeah.
want those things.
Yeah.
Nobody walks around going, yeah, I don't care if I'm successful or not.
Right.
Even the people that appear that they don't care
Mhm.
really want to be successful.
Exactly.
They just are caught in some type of a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But wanting this is where I've decided the core of what we talk about. This is our root, our whole being is about sticking that stake in the ground and shifting from I want it to I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I've decided this is what I'm going to do, right? You drive by the building, you see the building, you start thinking, oh, what a great idea. And you do that. And then one day you drive by and you look and you go, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens.
Exactly.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
And that's that moment where you shift.
Mm-hmm.
You shift where you say, I'm going to exercise. I don't care if I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
People say, oh, I can't, I don't have time to exercise. You do have time.
You do.
You can find time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, because I have to be at work at 8 and I don't get off till 5:30 and I got to cook. You could go before work. Oh no,
that's not going to happen.
I'm not a morning person. Okay, now we're labeling ourselves, right?
That
and you
is
may
not the right mindset.
Right. You may not be a morning person, but you can become. That's a behavior. I want to remind everybody that whether you wake up early or go to bed late is a behavior.
Yes.
It's a learned behavior that can be changed.
It sure can. With the right mindset.
With the right mindset. If you decide you're going to do it. You know, what's that saying, Nikki? It's like, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right either way.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or it's just, your yes means yes and your no means no.
Yeah.
And you learn what to say yes to and you learn what to say no to.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's good to say yes to things that scare you, right?
You should almost all the time.
Yeah.
Your success is on the other side of what scares you.
Absolutely.
It totally is. And and that's a total side point that I'd love to make because it's such a good point, is that if you haven't found yourself outside of your comfort zone lately, I want to encourage you to do it, because
to find something
if you're not pushing yourself, you're not growing.
Amen.
If you are so comfortable that it's that complacency.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my life's great.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, I'm just good just the way I am. Really? You need to do something different. I mean, I have a whole piece about me. I'm not saying that you need to be anxious.
Right.
Different. I'm not saying your joy and peace and all of that should be intact, but it shouldn't be to the point that you're so complacent that you're not doing anything outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because that's where growth happens.
It sure does. I feel like I'm going out of my comfort zone every minute of the day. I'm so serious.
You don't have to be that extreme, but that's okay. I feel like that sometimes too, and
in a good way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that I got all this techie stuff set up, I mean, come on. It's a miracle this works, because I feel like I touch techie stuff and it breaks. And my husband would attest. He's probably laughing right now as he's watching it. Yes. So if I can do this, you can do anything.
Yeah.
But trust me, right? And last but not least, and this is our 10th piece of the puzzle of I've decided, and we actually added it. So initially we had the first 9 pieces of the puzzle, okay, which are what we just shared with you: motivation, inspiration, support, accountability, tools, resources, information, education, and the right mindset.
And a lot of those connect. That's why
they all connect, right? And they roll into each other.
Yeah.
Those are all the pieces of the puzzle that you need to successfully achieve a goal that you want to achieve. And it doesn't matter what the goal is. It could be a small, big, mid, it doesn't matter. You got to have those pieces of the puzzle connected together. That's why success is so hard, because most people don't have all of those pieces of the puzzle readily available.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided it exists. We created, I decided to provide those pieces of the puzzle. Well, along the way, we support PUP, right? And PUP is
Yes.
People with Unlimited Potential, and it's a community. It's a not-for-profit organization that provides activities for adults who have learning disabilities, special needs, and things like that. It is a wonderful thing what they do. And so we contribute 10% of our proceeds to them.
That's awesome.
And it's awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
And so one day I realized, I'm like, we're missing a piece of the puzzle, because you can have, you can be with the 9 pieces of the puzzle that I mentioned, you can be successful.
Absolutely.
You can achieve your goals and dreams, but there's still going to be a little something missing if you're not contributing. And it doesn't have to be a money contribution.
Yeah.
It's about contributing to others' success. It's about sharing your testimony, right? It's about contributing your time, contributing your dollars sometimes, your money, but your time, your treasures, your talents.
Yep.
Yes.
Time, talent, and treasure.
And it's giving back, because without that, there's still a little bit missing.
Yeah.
And so we were doing it. We were contributing as a whole, right? But I wasn't telling our members. I wasn't coaching our members to contribute. So we added that really just about 3 or 4 years ago.
I like that.
And so we topped the cake with contribution. And so the 10th attribute of achievement is contribution.
I like that.
And you cannot be just be generous. And
when
you will never lose your money being generous.
Yeah, when you meet a lot of people and hear their success stories, they're on boards. They are giving of their time. They're in different organizations.
Yes.
It's part of the sauce, right?
It is.
You're saying there.
Oh, I like that too. It's the sauce.
It's part of the sauce. It's a huge ingredient. And that you recognize that, and you were saying, I automatically did it, but now let me pour into this community that I've started and let them know. And that's huge. People give of their time, talent, and treasure. These ladies, they're volunteering their time.
Yes, of course. Right.
And
they're coming to share their stories. I just can't wait to hear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. You don't know if you can see these pictures. And if you're listening to the podcast, you definitely cannot. Yeah. But that's what she said, Peoria. And you can find it at Art Inc. on your Facebook page. You can go to
artincpeoria.org. And then also, on Facebook, our handle is at Art Inc. Peoria.
Yes, yes. And I think I clicked the link right there from your Facebook page to buy my tickets and support this, because it's a great cause what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
And we want to contribute and pour into your community that you're building, and your not-for-profit, and what you're doing in Peoria.
Yeah, and it's so awesome. Even of course, Art Inc. is our contribution, right? But in addition to that, I sit on the board for United Way.
Right.
I am on a couple of different organizations. Jack and Jill, I'm the vice president of membership. There are other things that I do to contribute that solely isn't for my nonprofit. You know what I mean?
No.
I'll volunteer and help out a lot of different places. And that is huge. I never thought about that as the part of the sauce for success.
Yeah.
But it is. And when you hear people tell their stories, they're always talking about things like that.
Where they contribute. And it's a part of success. It's the best part of success.
It is.
Can I just add, it's the best part of success. And the fact that you can contribute back and help.
Yes.
That's why you want to be more successful, so you can give more and do more and make a better, bigger impact.
Yeah. And you can start small by going in and reading stories to kids in our local school district.
Yep.
That's giving back. You're pouring into those little kids. There's just so many opportunities for people to give back, whether, like you said, time, talent, or treasure.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. This was amazing. I could talk to you all day.
I know. I feel the same way.
I really could. I just love your energy, Nikki. You talk about a person that just fills people's cup. I want to hang around nothing but people like you.
I feel the same way about you.
I'm like, I want all the people I hang around with to be just like you, just pouring and pouring and just filling up other people's cups.
We got to make sure to fill up our own,
and we
too.
do. Yep. And you do. And I can tell that you do.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yes.
You have to, because otherwise you have nothing to give. Then you leave your attributes at home. You don't don't bring them to the table.
I live on an empty tank.
Yeah, that's right. So I do appreciate you being on the podcast with me today.
Thank you for having
been
me.
Great. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this wonderful conversation with Nikki Romain. And again, please, please, please buy your tickets to That's What She Said, Peoria.
Yep, we only have 50 tickets left.
Oh, wow. You better get on that. I'm glad I got mine. Is there a dress code?
Just dressed, especially for the women, dress in what makes you feel beautiful.
Just dress for success.
Yep.
I love that. Okay, great. I'm going to leave you guys with this quote. When you do your best, you are expressing an attribute of gratitude.
Ooh.
And, you know, I think about that all the time. I think, I don't know, there's no way I could ever repay God for all that he's done for me.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing that I can do is to show up every day doing my absolute best. And it's just true. That's a part of it's just the gratitude. You know, it's out of the gratitude of your heart for what you have, for what God gave you, those talents and things that you have, the blessings in your life. You should want to be the best version of yourself.
I love gratitude. I have a gratitude journal. In our staff meetings, I tell everyone to talk about what they're grateful for. Give gratitude. That really resonated with me.
Yeah. You can't, if you ever start feeling anxious, just start thanking.
Yes.
Just go from anxious to thanking. Just start thank you, Lord, for I was born in a time when there's toilets.
Amen.
If I can't think of anything else, thank you for the air condition and the heater.
And it's a great thing to start your day with that mindset.
Yes.
Thank you for waking me up.
Yes. It's a blessing. It's a gift.
And for this breath that I'm taking.
Again,
girl.
we're going to start a whole nother conversation. We're going to be here for another hour. We'll have to have another show. We will definitely have to have another show. All right, you guys, enjoy the rest of your week. And again, wherever you are, thank you for tuning in. And if I decided feels like it would be a wonderful community for you where we can help you and provide you with these 10 attributes for achievement, the 10 pieces of the puzzle for success, as we call it at I've Decided. We would love for you to join our community. It's really easy to do. If you go to ivedecided.org, you can choose to become a Launch My Success member and opt for weekly group coaching or one-on-one coaching and be on your way to success. So we hope you take that time and join, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks, Nikki.
Thank you. Bye-bye.